Hello, listeners out there. Welcome to another episode of the Tree of Geek. This one is a quick one-shot episode. It's not part of our normal regime, but we're going to call this one episode 16 nonetheless, for our coverage on Deadpool and Wolverine, in which Josh and I have just seen in the theater mere hours ago. So we're going to go over everything that we enjoyed and didn't enjoy about the movie. There will be spoilers ahead. We're going to talk about the comics. We're going to talk about previous movies. We're going to talk about all the cameos in here. So if you do not want to be spoiled whatsoever, like all those nasty people on social media do when they don't even give you a chance to scroll fast enough, turn away now, go see the movie, and then come back and hear our feelings upon it. Josh, how are you feeling mere hours away from seeing Deadpool and Wolverine?
I am doing amazing and I'm feeling fantastic. We are fresh off of that movie. We literally saw the movie, left the theater, grabbed some Mexican, ate, and came here.
Yeah, didn't eat chimichangas, ate a burrito instead of Philly steak burrito. But
I had a fajita. But I mean,
close enough.
But you know what? It's all in the same family. It's good enough for me. I am more than ready to get into this. I'm so excited. Like Michael just said, this is a one-off, kind of part of our theme of sci-fi, but not really. This is a comic book movie.
This is Deadpool and Wolverine. It has to be done.
But let's one more big time. We tossed this back and forth a lot, and we decided there's no real way to talk about this without having to get into it. So there will be spoilers. Spoilers. So like Michael said, if you don't want to be spoiled, turn it off, come back later. Otherwise, we'll see you in 2 weeks when we dive into Judge Dredd with our episode Dreadlocked. But no one cares about that right now. That movie's old.
I am the law.
Let's talk about...
Too early. Sorry.
I knew you were going to say that. Let's talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Michael, first things first.
All right. What do you got?
Yes or no, was it worth the wait?
I believe it was. I believe it was worth the wait. I'll just give you my rating right off the bat. I give this a solid 8 out of 10. I don't know if it was the epic movie that people expected and wanted it to be as far as the savior of the Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not a turd. Like it's a great movie. But it's its own movie. This isn't here to rectify everything that's been going on. Though they do definitely comment on what's been going on in the last days.
Do they ever?
So same question, toss right back. I'm going to toss the puck back at you.
I give it a solid 8.5. Maybe a little bit higher than yours. I don't know how we should sit down sometime and figure out like what's our actual rating. Like how do we figure it out? But I am a sucker for comedy. I'm a sucker for really good sarcasm, and this movie had all of it and then some.
Well, I usually, when I think about giving a rating to a movie, I think of all the movies I've given ratings to. Like, for this, I said I gave it an 8, so I think of like every movie in the past that I would have given an 8, and all the movies I would have given a 9, because I don't normally do like an 8.5 or 8.3, like, you know, I just, like when I'm doing my whole horror movie thing, I don't.
5.31.
Yeah.
See, I usually just compare it to the same genre. So in this case, the other Deadpools or superhero movies in general.
Well, off the bat, I'd say I like this better than Deadpool 2. Deadpool 1 was such a lightning in a bottle type thing at the time.
It really was.
This just kind of took that lightning and wrote it out of the bottle, I suppose. But I mean, I love Wolverine. He's been my favorite character forever. So the fact that Wolverine was in this so much, and it was everything that I wanted Wolverine to be.
You mean damn near every single scene had him and Deadpool side by side.
For years, people have wanted this type of Wolverine on screen. And I think that's what really got me in this. This was the Wolverine I grew up reading. Not that Hugh Jackman didn't kill it in every other time he's been Wolverine, but this wasn't Fox producers and executives putting their fingers in this.
Yeah.
You know, this was Marvel saying, let's do this right. Hugh Jackman saying, if I'm coming back, we're going to do this properly.
Yeah. Now, see, I always wondered, is Hugh Jackman a fan of the original content? Like, is he a comic book or an X-Men fan? Because, look at Henry Cavill with The Witcher. I think the reason his seasons of The Witcher were so well done was because he understood the source material. He was a fan. It wasn't just a paycheck. He wanted to do it justice. But to be fair, at this point...
That went somewhere.
Yeah, well.
Eventually.
But to be fair, at this point, this isn't just a paycheck for Hugh Jackman. Like...
No, he doesn't need the paycheck.
Well, I mean, even though Hugh Jackman can play anybody or anything, 90% of the world immediately sees him and thinks, oh, that's Wolverine.
I don't know if he loved the source material at the beginning, but because I know Dougray Scott was supposed to be Wolverine before he was, and I'm glad that never happened.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did Mission Impossible instead. I think he got injured or sick, and so they got Hugh Jackman instead, or there was a conflict in scheduling or something. Maybe, and I was kind of shocked there wasn't a Dougray Scott, cameo as Wolverine somewhere. I was waiting for it, and it never happened.
I don't know if anybody would have got that.
I would have got it. That would have been good enough for me. Sadly, there was no Tom Cruise as Tony Stark. I was waiting for that one. Didn't happen. We debated, remember, at the restaurant. We were like, let's just talk about all the cameos that didn't exist. Just act like they did exist.
I mean, we talked about it. The, what was his name in Deadpool 2?
Oh, the invisible guy.
Yeah, I don't remember what his official name was. But Brad Pitt, I mean, we joked that he was in the whole movie.
Yeah. Could have been.
Could have been.
Staying over there.
We did have Peter. Peter did make his comeback for a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not as big of a fan as Peter.
I just thought it was. I just think it's funny that of Deadpool 2, with all of those big, characters, he's the one that.
Well, Shatterstar was there.
Yeah, but he's the one that came in. Like, he's the one that everybody knows. Domino wasn't there.
I could have swore Zazie Beetz was showing back up, but no.
I thought she would, but no go there.
No Cable. Well, let's talk about cameos. We're talking about these people that did show up in this movie. Who was, bar none, your favorite cameo?
Oh man.
Oh, okay, well, two questions. Who was your favorite cameo? And then, who was the cameo where, you didn't even see that one coming? Because you and I have both tried our best to stay away from social media.
Yes.
I've been spoiled a time or two, which I got really pissed off about.
So, of everything that could have been spoiled, there's only 3 instances that I was actually semi-spoiled. Like, I knew so-and-so was going to be in it, but I was still pleasantly surprised when I saw them and their role. All in all, the cameo I absolutely loved had to have been Daphne Keene coming back as X-23, as Laura Kinney.
Yeah, well, she said my name's Laura. She does eventually say in the movie, my name's Laura. Because he calls her X-23 again, and she's like, my name's Laura.
Oh, Laura Kinney. I mean, she's
great character.
I've told you before, that's my guilty pleasure comic book. If I see it, I'm going to buy it. I love her stories. If anybody's interested, I can point you to a really freaking dark storyline that they did for her. But, it's so good. Like, it really gives depth to her character. And just seeing Daphne Keene come back for it was the icing on the cake. It truly was. I wanted it so bad, and there it was.
The glasses.
Now,
our one friend really liked the glasses when she put them on. That was her favorite part.
Now, I will say that was one of the things that was slightly spoiled for me. A friend of mine said, hey, did you see that
it was spoiled?
They have her in a trailer. And I was like, no, I didn't see that because I'm avoiding trailers. Thank you, though.
Yeah, as soon as I saw so long ago that Sabretooth was in it, Tyler Mane was back, and that he was getting decapitated, right then I made the decision I'm trying to stay away as much as possible.
So you're talking about the first behind-the-scenes set photos that got put out?
Yeah. Since then, I've been trying to stay away. And then, of course, the cameo that was ruined for me this morning was Calverine, or Calverine.
The Calverine.
Calverine.
Oh.
The most shredded giant Wolverine you were ever going to see, Henry Cavill. Just word. Massive. And
he turns around.
My wife's over there drooling to death.
The big old mutton chops and cigar in his mouth.
Oh, we could definitely use you.
He was in it for, 10 seconds?
Yeah.
And yet it was one of the most memorable parts.
Yeah.
I'd say the cameo I didn't see coming, though, was one that I saw coming and I knew was there, but I didn't know how it was going to be there. If you followed any of that at all. It was spoiled to me slightly that, hey, Chris Evans is in this, but he's not who you think. Well, gee, I wonder who the fuck he could be.
He's the guy from Not Another Teen Movie.
Thank you. Why would you? Yeah.
He has a banana split.
I'd have been more surprised if he was, what's his name, from Scott Pilgrim instead, but no. But, yeah, so if you went and saw it, you already know what I'm talking about, where they think it's Captain America, and he's like, Avengers, flame on! What the hell?
He's a complete douchebag, just like he was in the movies.
I cracked up. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. That fight with him lasted, literally 5 seconds.
Yeah. Which I'm not completely sold on. The guy can create a supernova. Maybe it's the physics of where they're at. He can't. He does have to go around really fast. Maybe he's hungry. He's emaciated. I don't know. But
he's been there for how long?
It's been a while since we got that movie. So.
And he thought fighting Pyro, played by the same actor as X-Men.
Ashford. That's the last name. Ashford.
Something like that. I'll find it then. But yeah, he thought that was a good idea. What about you? What cameos really tickled your fancy?
Mine's a twofold for the questions I asked you. I completely did not expect Wesley Snipes to roll in there as Blade. And that was because that was my favorite cameo because he wasn't. I mean, there's one joke that he makes, you know, the retarded joke with Deadpool there, but he really wasn't that comedic. He was fucking Blade, man.
Yeah, he was just serious. He was there.
He kicked ass, and you know, it was fine to see people like Elektra and Toad. And apparently Kelly Hu playing Lady Deathstrike, even though I swear that wasn't her. Different people, you know, there was a guy playing the Russian that wasn't Kevin Nash. Yep. But overall, because Blade's in it significantly for the middle of the movie. Like, he wasn't just a one and done, I'm here, I'm gone. He didn't just, I was like, man, please, you can't just kill Blade in a second or something. Like, because I would have been pissed.
Oh, yeah.
But
Pyro was Aaron Stanford.
Yeah, that was close. Give me 2 points.
I was disappointed though that 99% of the cameos were Fox, which we get it. They're playing on the whole Fox is dead. They should have brought somebody in from the Netflix ones that aren't acknowledged anymore, or like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, they're kind of bringing that back into it, though.
Okay, then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that went its own route and now people ignore it.
Well, he ended up being a bad guy, like season 1, at the end of season 1, or end of season 1, he was the bad guy, and then he gets morphed into the alien dude. He was the tall
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, like.
Oh, I know who you mean, yeah.
Like, they could have brought him in or something. That would have been nice.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But like, I wanted to see like a Punisher, or
Instead of just the bazooka.
You know, Jessica Jones, or
well, they had the Russian. I mean, that was all the Punisher you were gonna get from.
Give me David Tennant as the Purple Man.
Yeah,
throw him in there.
Paul Giamatti is the Rhino, and shout out to Paul Giamatti. You know, and they're really casting the Star Trek school show, so that's cool. They're rolling even more out.
The Academy.
Yeah, was it
Starfleet Academy or something like that?
I think it's just called the Academy or something. But anywho, back to Deadpool. We're not talking about what's new and geek. But yeah, they could have just thrown somebody out there. But at least they gave Blade like 15 minutes worth of shit to do. He was important.
Yeah. Now, was that your favorite cameo, or was that the one you didn't see
it was my
coming?
favorite cameo.
So what about you didn't see coming?
No, that was my twofold answer. I didn't see Blade coming.
He falls into both. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
I had no idea Blade was going to show up in there because you had the fake ones, like Marston is coming back as Cyclops. Famke Janssen is definitely coming back as Jean Grey. So when
I was
there's a scene where the boots are walking, I thought that was Jean Grey picking him up. I didn't think that was Elektra picking him up. I had no idea.
Elektra, played by Jennifer Gardner.
Yeah.
Garner. Thank you. Which my wife asked me who that was at the movie, and I said, "Oh, it's Elektra. It's Jennifer Connelly." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's
Jennifer Connelly." No,
wait, no, because Jennifer. I just finished that book, Dark Matter. I told you about. Like, it deals with multiversal stuff, and Jennifer Connelly is playing the one main character in the show that I'm now watching because it's directly off the book. So she's fresh in my head.
Jennifer Connelly could have showed up from the Hulk. She could have been in there, and she wasn't.
Yeah.
No Liv
right.
Tyler, Edward Norton showing up would have been hilarious.
But it seemed like they were only doing stuff that's officially no longer canon, because technically Edward Norton is still canon. Like, they reference
Eric Bana wasn't. They could have brought Eric Bana.
Well, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
And Blade was New Line Cinema.
Oh yeah, you're right. I did love. There was a very brief part where they talked about variants and like, oh, there's different versions, and Wesley Snipes made the comments like, what was it, like, I'm the only Blade, or there's only one Blade.
And he's basically, I'm the only fucker to ever do this, and I'm gonna be the only one to do this.
And then of course, you know, Deadpool looks at the camera like, which I was just saying before we hit record. You know, Ryan Reynolds is like grade A acting when with a full face mask on, you can read his facial expressions. I mean, those eyes say everything.
Yes.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah, they really did their homework when they were making that suit and making the mask, and just he's invested in this character. I love the B-roll footage, the behind the scene footage during the credits, the high school video, as my friend calls it, where, you know, he talks about playing Deadpool for the first time and how he's always wanted to do it, and
then that version of Deadpool came out. See, that's one thing I did love. It wasn't just like end credits and then wait around for the end credit scene. No, it was the first 30 seconds to a minute of credits was all of this behind the scenes of all the different Fox.
They gave love to all the Fantastic Four movies.
It was all the Fox properties that are now gone.
Defunct.
I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. They even gave love to Rob Liefeld, where they get thrown through the restaurant, and before all the billion Deadpool show up, it's the Liefeld restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Who is the creator of Deadpool? Now
that you mention it, I do remember seeing that, but it didn't register.
And I knew that was coming up from internet stuff.
Screenshots, yeah.
But that's okay to me. Like, I'm not, that's, oh my God, well, I'm so ruined by one of the greatest artists. Have you ever seen, like, his artwork of Captain America? Like, he does this cover of Captain America once where he caps, like, sideways, and it's some of the worst comic book.
Is it where his chest is like 4 feet?
Yes,
like big barrel.
And
chest.
somebody took the time to anatomically like make what the person would actually look like if Captain America was real from that picture, and it is awkward. Awkward as Peter wearing the Deadpool suit.
Oh, beautiful scene though.
Those cameos, so many, and he mentions in the beginning, so, when he gets to the TVA that. So you're saying there's going to be cameos upon cameos, like there's going to be a gratuitous amount? Yes, there is, and there was.
Oh, there was, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, which side note, if you're going to take your kids to see this movie, please be warned. We found it's like 120 plus F-bombs, and then a whole list of swear words, as well as some
there's the See You Next Tuesday, just all types of thunder.
Oh man, there's so many colorful.
I love the thunder one because that's kind of a throwback from Blade 3 when he was chained up and he was yelling at the vampire lady and he threw so many obscenities at her. I was like, that's kind of a merger of that. And a lot of people forget that he was in Blade. Like that's the always talk about Green Lantern. He was in Blade 3, Blade Hannibal.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, where was Jessica?
Didn't he have a sword?
Why didn't she show up? I think he probably did.
He did.
Yeah, he always has one. The Jessica Biel could have showed up. Nothing.
Yeah.
Triple H could have came back.
I mean, the late 90s, early 2000s was like the age of the J. It was Jennifer's or Jessica's all over the screen.
Jessica Alba was everywhere back in the day. Everywhere.
I think the first thing I saw her in was Sin City.
I saw her in Flipper, the TV show. Yep. I was a fan ever since then.
Fair enough.
The Dark Angel TV show she did was good.
So one issue I did have.
Yeah, let's talk about some negative. Let's get some negative shit out the way.
The biggest issue I think I had was a lot of the major things that you were excited for were all in the trailer. And that kind of was all the major stuff in the movie. I mean, there's still a ton of stuff that happened in the movie that's not in the trailer. But like the giant Ant-Man suit, Goliath, like all the major...
Jokes about Paul Rudd.
Yeah, like all those major things are right there in the trailer that you already know are coming. And it was kind of, I don't say a letdown.
There's no trailer trash. All the trailer is in the movie.
Yes. But what I mean is like, I don't know, I think it would hit home harder if Ant-Man's suit wasn't in the trailer. And all of a sudden you just see it and it opens up and there's the skull. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I just feel like there's
even Marvel Jesus didn't have to be in the trailer. They could have done.
That's what I mean. I feel like they put a lot in the trailers that took away from a lot of the higher points of the movie.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and side note, speaking of trailers, as you saw, the opening trailers for this movie, for us anyways, was Alien Romulus, Captain America.
Yeah, you close your eyes, you said. And I said, well, I don't have a choice now.
I did. I leaned over and said, Michael, shut your eyes, because there's Alien Romulus starting up. And I leaned over. I said to my wife, I said, Danae, we're going to see this. And she said, oh. By the end of the trailer, she's like, you're going by yourself. She doesn't like horror. And I'm like, it's Alien. She's like, that's not my problem. I'm like, well, it's not a problem. So anyway, out there, if you want to go see Alien with me, let me know.
Slide into his DM.
I will be 100% going to see it. Like, I get so excited every time I see the trailer. I think that's the next one on my list after this one that I'm most excited for.
Yeah. So you're more excited for that than Captain America?
Yes, I am. However, that is the very first time I saw the Captain America trailer.
It's the second time I've seen it.
I've avoided it up until now. It looks really good, but I have a really hard time with Sam being Captain America. I know that's part of the point. Like, he's finding his own identity with it, but I don't know. I just have a hard time with it still.
Well, we'll see if he slips into it. Negative stuff. How did you feel as far as the meter on fan service? I know one of our friends, Natalie, felt like there was a lot of fan service. Do you feel the same way that there was? I know you guys are kind of talking like midway through. It was like, okay, they are just giving us kind of everything they want or everything they think we want. How do you feel about that?
Yes, but no, but yes. I know that doesn't answer your question at all.
So some things like, yeah, that's fan service. Other things you're like, oh, I am glad that's there.
In the beginning, when he starts bouncing timelines, he's looking for a Wolverine. Loved every minute of that, especially the very first Wolverine he comes across, which is Hugh Jackman, but edited down to like a 4-foot little...
The 5'3" $180.
Comic book accurate.
Yeah.
Like, oh my word, that was hilarious. And then, okay, we get going a little bit more. Okay, we're in the Wastelands, or the Void. We're gonna see some more cameos. We're gonna see some fan service because that's the whole point of it. It's Fox. They got pruned. Okay, I get it. First off, they went hardcore Mad Max on the style.
Very well. He even throws the jokes out about Furiosa.
Yes, he does. He does. That being said, however, about I'd say 2/3 of the way through the movie, when we are still getting cameos and still getting like little nods to other stuff, it's like, okay, I get it. I mean, it's still highly entertaining, but at the same time, I'm not looking forward to the who's next anymore. Get on with the story.
Okay.
That being said as well, watching the credits and seeing that he did cast Blake Lively, his real-life wife, as at least the voice of Lady Deadpool, I did love that.
Yeah, well, his kids.
And his kids.
Baby Deadpool, yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciated there was a lot of Deadpools, but at one point I was like, okay, this is too many fucking Deadpools. Like this him going to find the Wolverines, there was like classic like covers of comic book Wolverines.
Oh yeah.
You know, the John Byrne Wolverine, the ex, he's being, fucking crucified
oh my
Wolverine.
Gosh, dude. The old patch version.
Like that was cool, but then all of a sudden you have like a group of like 50 fucking Deadpools. And like Matthew McConaughey is a Deadpool now? Like,
yeah.
What is going on here?
Well, we went through IMDb briefly before this, and what was
International.
Matthew McConaughey was a Western Deadpool, and we had Nathan Fillion as the voice of a
zombie head Deadpool.
Yeah, Blake Lively, his wife, 2 of his kids, including the baby, apparently.
Oh, there was Welsh Deadpool. There was like Spanish Deadpool. There was like fucking just.
There was one that looked like Moon Knight.
Yeah, I was very surprised there was no Spider-Man jokes. He did make like he was doing the web shooters, but like no, but I mean when all the variants come out, why wasn't there Into the Spider-Verse joke somewhere about every fucking
true.
Deadpool? I was waiting for a Spider-Man joke.
Yeah, but Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man in general is still legally owned by Sony.
So maybe he couldn't mention that.
That's what I mean. Maybe they couldn't get rights for this movie. But I don't know.
I was expecting an Into the
Spider-Verse. Because the whole, like, when he's sitting in the car, like, pretending like he's shooting web shooters, they never once said anything about it. Just, hey, stop it.
Yeah.
So maybe that was, like, their little nod to it. I don't know. But the fact that he is now officially in Disney with the MCU, I mean, I guess MCU. I don't know if they're going to bring him back again or not. I hope so.
We got Secret Wars coming.
I mean, I would love to see his interaction with some of the other characters.
Absolutely.
Who would you want to see him with other than Wolverine? Who would you want to see him have a run-in with? I always say Captain America, Chris Evans, but obviously...
That happened in a way. Yeah, because, I mean, he's just a salute, and then he's like, oh my God, it's Captain America, I know he's... Oh, what the fuck? Who are you? An interaction with Deadpool... well, actually, a real Captain America would be good. Eventually, we might get a Thor. He's like, oh, but it's gonna happen. It's in the future.
That was one thing I was a little annoyed at. Loved it, but yeah, he sees Thor like cradling his body on the one monitor in the TVA, and they joke about it constantly. Like every time he wakes up or something, Thor. But we never got a payoff.
You mentioned this off screen, off microphone,
off everything.
I think of Guardians of the Galaxy. The fact that Peter Quill is returning at some point, a Peter Quill Deadpool interaction would fucking kill. It would be fun. Just let those two just ad lib and just rip it for like, and even a Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd needs to be able to hit back.
It's funny you say Peter Quill because I was leaning a lot more towards the whole Guardians of the Galaxy. I'd love to see him and Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon just going back and forth, or even him and Drax. All of his sarcasm, and Drax is just deadpan. I don't understand
anything you're saying right now.
Yes, because he would get frustrated like
very quickly. Yeah, there's some people that just would not take his humor well at all.
No. Like Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk. I bet he wouldn't take it well.
I do like in the trailer for Captain America, it's not New World Order now, it's Finding a New World, a whole new world, something like that. A New Frontier, who knows? But he's like either lose the mustache or lose the election. Does Harrison Ford just not grow a mustache? I've seen him with some scraggly beards before. I gotta tell you, that dude's looking skinny these days. So they had footage from the Comic-Con recently, and he shows up on stage, to show he kind of like hulks out. But he's skinny, man. Harrison Ford is getting like old.
I think he's what, late 60s, early 70s.
He's got to be like 70.
I mean, sadly he is getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at that point in that trailer, again, Danae leaned over. She's like, "Why is the Hulk red?" I'm like, "Because that's not the Hulk, honey.
It's Thread Hulk."
And that's when she looked at me. She's like, "This is why I don't watch Marvel anymore." She's like, "Tony's dead. I'm done." I'm like, "Well, there's other comic books more than just Iron Man, right?" Like,
well, speaking of Tony Stark, we can spoil the fact that at Comic-Con,
yep.
RDJ shows back up and he's got a new mask with a new task.
I think he was wearing like a green hoodie as well.
Yeah, it was like some really, like cheap Doctor Doom stuff. So he's going to be playing Doctor Doom of all the actors they can find out there anywhere. And I talked about this with my friends on the way back home, that so many actors have played different characters in different Marvel-ish things. However, I'm not completely happy about Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play Doctor Doom.
I agree. No, I
there's
agree. So
many actors that can probably do it.
I was talking about this on the drive home too, but my wife wasn't replying because she had no idea what I was talking about. And I think she might have been on the phone with her mom at the time. So it was basically me venting, or not venting, but, throwing stuff out. It makes sense in the sense that they needed somebody Pedro Pascal's age because Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom were roommates. I mean, we know that.
In the comics, yeah.
Yeah. And if we look at a universe where the Fantastic Four was the dominant, superheroes and whatnot, then there's a good chance that Tony Stark never would have had to have created the Iron Man suit.
I know there's a lot of logistic things that you could wrap around and make it make sense. And he's supposed to have a mangled face anyway.
Yes.
And I know, like, Josh Brolin, he played Cable, he played Thanos. It's not so much that I'm mad that he's playing these two characters. Like, I don't think he can ever pull it off. But then again, I don't know if he has the angriness, the deep darkness that I need Victor Von Doom to have. I've seen a lot of RDJ movies, and I don't know if I've read him like, wow, he was a bad motherfucker right there.
I've obviously never seen him in Tropic Thunder.
What you mean, Tropic Thunder?
I honestly thought when I originally heard that Henry Cavill was in talks with Marvel, I thought he was going to be coming in as Victor Von Doom. I did.
He'd be imposing.
He's got that.
Like 6'3", he's a big.
He's tall,
shredded.
We've seen in
his shoulders are as wide as this damn table. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, we've seen in both The Witcher and the Superman movies, he can be mean. He can yell. Yeah. He can be deep. Well, I mean, deep like his voice, not his emotions.
Well, you got to have somebody who has maybe it's the voice. I cannot picture, or I can't do a soundbite in my head of Robert Downey Jr. doing like a James Earl Jones or a Cumberbatch, or this just like, I am Doom. Like, I can't picture that. Like an Undertaker type, listen.
They're going to have, like my old boss,
Reed.
My old manager from my last job was texting me about it. And I told you, I was like, did you just spoil something in this movie? Like, I'm going to see it right now. Like, I'm standing in the theater when he was texting me. And he's like, no, this was Comic-Con. And I'm like, okay. I said, you got to understand, Dr. Doom wears a mask literally 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, so why do we need RDJ?
I'm like, and he has to have a voice modulator because Dr. Doom almost always has that, I don't want to say mechanical voice, but like you could tell it's distorted. Yeah.
It's a Darth Vader-ish filtered kind of.
So I agree. Wait, I don't know, man. Hell, you could even have Jonathan Majors come back in and voice it, and that would make more sense.
Well, let's not forget this as well, and I think a lot of people probably don't have this at the top of their head. Victor Von Doom is not American.
No, you're right.
And as much as I love Julian McMahon, Nip Tuck's a great show, and I think he did all right as Dr. Doom, he is not, and yes, some people are here for years and their accent kind of goes away, but he is a Latvian dictator.
Yes.
Like ruler, a king, emperor, whatever you want to call him. And he should have, maybe he is going to do a different accent. Maybe that's what's going to do it for it.
You know what? Screw it. We need Jeremy Irons.
No, we need Donald. Dude, Jeremy Irons would probably murder as Victor. I'm telling you, like, yeah.
Just if you don't know who Jeremy Irons is, man, think back to Die Hard 3. He played Simon. Yeah, what was it? Gruber. And I think he could probably actually nail that now that I think about it. I wish
Alan Rickman was still around because Alan Rickman would. Where's Gary Oldman? Why can Gary Oldman not do this?
Because if we get Gary Oldman, then we're going to have to get Johnny Depp at some point too. Because
no.
The two of them seem like they can be anybody.
If there's one actor I don't want anywhere near
I agree.
the MCU, Emily would probably say Tom Cruise. Emily does not want Tom Cruise anywhere near the MCU. Me, I don't want Johnny Depp anywhere near the MCU for any role whatsoever.
Yeah,
I do not want this guy. He's a guy that I've jumped off the truck and grabbed the Punisher's bazooka and shot the back of the truck. Like, I am nowhere near that bandwagon. And I was never a huge Johnny Depp fan. Like, I liked him in Pirates, and that was about it.
See, funny enough, I'd never seen all the Pirates because I found his character to be annoying. And that's one of the reasons after, like, the second movie, I don't think I've seen any of them. I've seen the first two. That's it.
Adam Sandler should have played Dr. Doom.
That's it. Solved.
So, because at one point you're going to ask me if Adam Sandler was anywhere in the MCU.
I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah.
Well, I guess if I'd put him in the...
he should have been a Deadpool.
He should have been in Deadpool. I was going to say it earlier, and I couldn't think of his name for some reason. And the final thing I saw from Comic-Con leaked footage, thank you Reddit, is the Fantastic Four teaser trailer.
Oh yeah, you did mention that.
You didn't get to see it.
No.
With all the Galactics.
I'm more than sure I'll see it because I've been avoiding Reddit for the last few days.
Well, they've said up and down over and over and over, this is not an origin story. But the whole teaser trailer is their origin. Like, it's them getting on the rocket and going into space and trying to be a family, and
maybe it's going to be in
quick montage,
a flashback, like they did at the beginning of the Edward Norton Hulk. They kind of like, hey this, like real fast. This stuff happened, but we're not going to show it again.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It looks good though. I was kind of weary before because we've talked about Pedro and everything. Eben Moss, I love him in The Bear. He's fucking fantastic. Kirby, I've never really seen her in anything. The other dude from Stranger Things is playing Johnny Storm. So now after I've seen the teaser, I'll buy my ticket.
Who's playing Galactus?
The really super deep voiced guy from Game of Thrones and some other stuff. Yeah, like his voice is ridiculous. He should have done the voice of Dr. Doom.
Say that narrative down.
I'll look it up as well.
What they need to do is just get Josh Brolin back to do the voice of Dr. Doom. I mean, he's already done Cable and Thanos. What's another one? Roll it up in there, and then we'll just have Robert Downey Jr. walking around with a mask on and get paid a lot of money to not actually do anything. I know that sounds like hate. I love Robert Downey Jr.
Ralph Ineson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's got that super... I can't even imitate his voice. It's so deep. He's like Alex the Terrible from Slaughter to Prevail. His voice is just wild.
I had a scene that came after the credits in it, and it's me in a car park being quite unsavory.
They should have brought, what's his name in from Halo. He's not doing anything now.
He's got to be the next Sabretooth. He has to.
I would love to see that.
Pablo Schreiber needs to be the next Sabretooth. He's got the size. He's related. He's the half brother of the other dude.
The other dude.
Yeah, Liev Schreiber.
Yeah.
He's not doing nothing because they canceled Halo 2 like a bunch of pussies. I said it. Cancel me. I don't care.
I'm sad about that. I really am. We finally got to a good part. They're going down into the structure, and then they cancel.
Now we'll never know. Whatever. All those questions I asked on our pod about that one.
Yeah.
I'll never get answered.
Kat is floating in space indefinitely now. Not Kat. No, what's her name?
It is with a K though, right?
Yeah, I say Kat because in the books, yeah, that's right. There's Halo books I read. One of the people on his team is named Kat.
Kat with a K.
Funny enough, in the books, if I remember correctly, she dies when she gets shot with a needler, and it blows up, and her like suit basically vents.
Ooh.
So it's kind of a play on Varric, but. Yeah. Vanek. It doesn't matter. The show's canceled. Yeah. Nobody cares anymore.
Nope.
So back to what's important, though.
Back to important. What was your favorite fight scene in this movie?
So this is a little difficult because the movie starts out with one of the most amazing fight scenes I've ever seen.
Using a human spine.
Yes.
The award for human spine work goes to...
Or when he's sitting there,
Deadpool
he digs up Logan's body from the end of Logan. He's sitting there next to him, and the camera's slowly panning out, and he's like, I'm no biologist, but you're dead. And it's just a silver skeleton sitting there. And then he uses like every piece of the skeleton to kill all these people. But my favorite fight scene, first off, I thought the way I don't want to say it was like a one take, but it almost felt like some of the fights were in a one take. Like the way the camera worked so beautifully, you couldn't tell that it was put together. It almost looked like they had 20 cameras on the same scene and okay, go, now we'll put it all together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it was so fluid. I would have to lean to either the minivan fight or the very opening fight. So either Deadpool fighting with Wolverine's skeleton or Deadpool fighting against Wolverine in the Honda minivan.
I appreciate how he said, I'm not going to give you my weapons and I won't use them. And he was true. I'll throw out a quick negative. Baby knife. They overdid the baby knife joke way too many times.
That would have been great as like a real quick thing.
Maybe 2 jokes, but like 6 jokes.
There was a part where
knife.
like he did the whole Wolverine like stance, like he whipped his claws out, but he was holding that baby knife, which is like an inch long. And the mention of it later. But yeah, they kept bringing it back.
Yeah, that was too much. Mine was the minivan fight.
Was it?
It was a minivan. And there were so many times in this movie where a fight would happen, somebody's head would explode, or somebody would get stabbed in a certain place. There are a lot of crotch stabbings in this movie.
My word.
I'd like to get a count on that because I feel like there's at least 25 of them. But there was just so many times I go, you were over from Joe for me, but I was like, oh, shit. Damn. But the minivan fight, there's a scene where Wolverine has finally had enough of his jokes. And it is such a very good 1.5 minute monologue of Logan just letting everything in his soul that he hates about Deadpool off his chest on him. And he's just a fucking joke and he's a loser. He'll never amount to anything. You know, such and such was right about what she said about him. And when he's done talking, he just says, I'm going to fight you now.
Well, Deadpool's sitting there just staring at him. And he said something like, what, now you're quiet? And he's just like,
I'm going to fight you now. And he goes, wait, what the fuck did you say? And then he punches him in the nose and it just pisses Wolverine off. And they had this epic van, and the Honda Odyssey must have paid money to be in this movie.
Well, and that was one of the fights.
This van fucks hard.
Every time you thought the fight was over, it just kept going.
And kept going.
Like there's a scene where like they both end up laying there on opposite ends of the van, and I forget what they said, but all of a sudden they're like, okay, and they went right back into it, like they were taking a breather. And then finally, it literally shows like the back of the van, like nighttime, daytime, and then is Wolverine sleeping?
I guess.
And Deadpool's wrapped up in seatbelts.
His poor precarious position, yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Because that's when Jennifer Garner shows up.
Oh, it's fantastic. It was such a good time. I mean, I don't know if I would say that it's like the best movie ever. It's definitely
not Endgame.
No, but it did have portals.
It did.
But it was just...
What did Cassandra Nova call one of the Doctor Strange? Some amateur magician?
An amateur street magician. Yeah.
It must have been one of the bad variants that wasn't very...
Well, I mean, she's a psychic that can do apparently anything.
I thought maybe we'd get a Baron Mordo at some point showing up somewhere. Yeah. We didn't get that.
I will say, though, while the visuals, like, yeah, there's blood and there's exploding, bodies. The thing that got me the most, though, was the way she reads your mind. She even says she can't just read your mind. No, she has to touch you.
I gotta get my hands dirty, she says.
And, like, the way, like, the visual effects of, like, her hand inside their heads and, like...
The final one with Paradox.
Dude.
What she does to Paradox. And then she's, like, dragging this guy with her mitts all up in his business. Wow.
It was dark.
And I appreciate the visual effects because at some point she has her fingers out, like kind of under his nose by his lip, and she moves her finger and his lip goes up and down as she's moving her hand.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just like some shoddy, oh, here's a third eye I now have.
No movie did that.
Yeah. Like, she moved, like, the skin under his eye was moved, his lip would move, his chin would move. Like, it looked like the worst fucking migraine of all
every now
time.
and then, yeah, her finger would, like, push out through his cheek or something. But for the most part, it was always through an orifice. Like, it was through an eye socket or a nose or an ear. Like, it was...
very invasive.
Yeah, well, she even says, like, oh, my word. That gave me kind of chills.
Yeah, I didn't know much about her from the comics. I knew she was Xavier's sister, and I knew at some point she ended up with the Shi'ar Empire or something and cosmically powerful, but I didn't know enough about her, and I don't know if she does that in the comics, but this rendition of her, regardless of all that, even though it was like kind of a one and done villain here, it was effective. It wasn't the most intricate, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen in this movie type plot. It was kind of simple, but the villain made sense for the simple reason that she needed to be there.
Yeah. No, I can give you that.
Your job is to do this, and you did it.
I'm a little sad that that's the only movie she's going to be in. I mean,
yeah, probably.
I just like the Marvels. I didn't like that. I can't remember her name now, but...
the wife of Cumberbatch?
No, the wife of Hiddleston.
Hiddleston, I'm sorry.
His real-life wife played the villain. And
she was good.
I mean, the writing wasn't amazing, but she was very well cast. she can never come back because they killed her off.
Because
as far as this movie, spoiler for Captain Marvel.
Well, as far as this movie is saying, variants are done. The multiverse is done. They even I'm pretty sure the line is the multiverse is fucking dead. This is over.
They even said at one point like it hasn't worked since Endgame.
Yeah. And somebody disagreed with it. One of the characters. I don't remember who it was. I could have swore somebody was like, "Oh, I liked what's its."
Oh yeah, I caught that, but I don't remember who it was. So okay, the movie was full of laughs. We covered that. The movie was graphic. It had lots of cursing. I'm sure some people out there are thinking like, so it's basically just a waste of time.
No, because the Wolverine shit is not a waste of time.
No, that is true. I will say I got hardcore chills during that fight, like that big climax of them in the basement. When it was going through like all the little like flashbacks of both of them, like you're seeing different aspects of both of them, mostly Wolverine. Like
I thought it was pretty equal about the flashbacks.
Yeah, okay. During
you
that
see Deadpool right before he even gets turned into Deadpool from the very first movie. He's laying on.
Yes.
Assuming like right before he makes the fucking Green Lantern joke in the movie. But
I mean, like when they're down there, like they grab hands and stuff, and like you're seeing like oh man, I don't know, like you really get to see the character development, mostly of Wolverine throughout the movie.
Was a big one for.
But then Madonna starts playing, man.
Yeah. Because you got to have that laugh.
Yeah, but like I got legitimate chills. Like I thought cinematically that was a prime piece of the movie. Like it was so cleanly done.
I liked the scene with Wolverine and Cassandra Nova where she's talking about you can be fine. You come join me. You're accepted with me. Yada. Wolverine, Hugh Jackman can cry very well on screen.
Yeah.
And he just looked like such a defeated man. And his eyes were red, like the bags underneath him, you know, the swelling of the fluid of the tears coming through.
Yeah.
It just, man, like he breaks my heart every time. He's such a broken... Wolverine, in essence, is a broken character. He is one of the... What is it? Not a samurai, but a Ronin who just... His whole flaw, like he can never be what he wants to be. He's always going to fail at his task. Like he's always trying to be better, but he knows in his heart he can never be better. It's a very collision of a type of character of so many different things. And that's why I've always gravitated towards him.
Well, and he even says at one point, he's like, you know, he's been around for over 200 years and he still hasn't gotten it right type of thing. Like that hits hard. Like,
well, even just a little snippet where he's talking to X-23 at the campfire.
Oh man, that was good.
Oh, I didn't really have
he makes
tears
the
in
comment
this, but...
of like, I'm not the right guy or like something like that. And she's walking away and she's like, you were never the right guy. It's
That's
like,
how you were.
Yeah. It's like, dude. And again, Daphne Keane, she nailed this return.
I will say about this movie that everybody's role that they were supposed to be in, they're like, hey, here's your role. This is what you're supposed to do. And everybody nailed what they were supposed to do. Nobody was just there. I mean, yes, there was copious amounts of Deadpools at one point, but...
So yeah, people were definitely just there, but
they were there to be so many.
Yeah.
But the parts, like Blade was supposed to be Blade, Elektra was supposed to be Elektra, Cassandra Nova was supposed to be Cassandra Nova. Like they did their job.
No, absolutely.
They did it well.
Absolutely.
And I don't think there was no character who was just phoned in, I don't think. Or it was just kind of lazy.
Can we talk about the character that shouldn't have been there? Because he wasn't in a single property.
Go ahead.
They brought Channing Tatum in.
Channing on your Tatum.
As Gambit, which as we know, and we were talking about this briefly right before we went live, right before we hit the record button. Channing Tatum never made it into a franchise.
But he wanted to
never
so
made
bad.
it into a movie. He wanted to so bad. And you were telling me that was right at the end of Fox's superhero run. They were ending their...
Yeah, it was the last quarter, like the last couple of years that Fox was... I think they were doing maybe Apocalypse.
Yeah, like the MCU had started to gain traction. And
right. And he kept campaigning, and there was a script and all these things, and it fell through. And he talks about how he was never given a chance.
Well, we think that's what he said, because he plays such a strong Cajun accent. You're like...
Well, dude, I was talking about that with our friends about that accent, because it was up and down and all over the place. I feel like he was really embellishing that a little bit too much at times.
Oh, yeah.
Talks about getting shot out of his daddy's dick.
And there's so many jokes where he's... What did Ryan Reynolds say, or Deadpool say at one point? He's like, who's your language coach? Your linguist? He's like, what? What is it, a minion? Like,
what? Who's your speech coach?
Like, I know he's supposed to be hard to understand, but there were points where I'm like, I don't know what he just said.
Yeah, and I think that was the point. It was supposed to be comedic in a way.
But his whipping out the playing cards
Dude, he was mad because Wolverine took his whiskey.
Yes.
And so he just blows up the bottle of whiskey. I mean,
So Wolverine picks up another one. But no, the portrayal of him with the playing cards and the bow staff. And
the bow staff was nice.
I
Overhead
think
shot.
I would have no opposition to them bringing him in later. I mean, not as his own movie, but bring him in when they do eventually reboot the official X-Men. I'd have no problem seeing him in a
Tweaking
movie.
his costume a little bit.
And his acting. But yes.
Yeah, well, then this costume is one of those ones where you look at the strip and you go, how are we going to bring that into screen here?
It was very comic accurate.
Yeah.
But it was impractically accurate.
Yeah, it looked uncomfortable.
The headband and stuff. Yeah.
And speaking of costumes, and it burns me to say this because I am, a huge Wolverine fan. When we were at dinner, Emily asked me, did you get like super excited, or maybe it was Elizabeth that asked me, did you get super excited when Wolverine put his mask on? And
Emily asked you that.
Was it Emily? And I said, not really, because it was impractical and it didn't really look good to me on screen.
Actually, it might have been Elizabeth.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember.
Either way, they were both kind of poking at me because I think they liked it, and I was like,
See, I thought it was great.
The eyes. What were up with the eyes?
They tried to do the whiteout eyes just like the cartoon.
Maybe if they didn't do the eyes, then
I don't know. I loved it, but at the same time, I didn't because it was so over exaggerated.
Well,
but
Bat in the Sun did the live action where he fights Predator and he fights Wonder Woman, and they've got that, and it looks good. But he has his eyes. It's not white. I don't think it's white. It looks
okay.
Yeah, this one, then the jokes about the Deadpool throws at him about it was pretty funny too. Like what's the aerodynamics for your blowjobs?
Your blowjob handles.
Oh, you're like, and then he's like, oh, you're like Batman, only you can move your neck.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, geez. Well, and speaking of costumes, how happy were you, though, to see a semi-comic accurate costume for him finally?
Yeah, the Wolverine costume, 90% was amazing. I mean, I wasn't huge on the mask. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
They definitely took their own, liberties with it. Color scheme. I mean, the color scheme, blue and yellow. But I mean,
maize and blue.
They definitely did their own thing with it. But it just felt like Wolverine.
That's what he should have wore.
Yes.
And I like the explanation of why he wore it.
Oh man,
And I'm not going to spoil that. I'm not going. It's just about why this Wolverine is the worst Wolverine ever, supposedly. And
it's why he has such a dark demeanor to him. And I thought that was an amazing. It wasn't just I need a Wolverine, I'll grab you. No, they gave that a reason that
this Wolverine was the alcoholic that Tony Stark was supposed to be.
I could see that. Yeah.
This Wolverine could put him back.
Yeah.
Like that's all he wanted. That's all that he wanted to do was just.
Or like when they're in the bar and he's just like, hold on, and you see him chugging the bottle just, and they're like, okay, it's okay, yeah.
Audiences are used to long run time.
But like some of the fourth wall jokes that were broken, they went full on Kevin Feige. They poked at everything. At one point, I'm pretty sure he even mentioned his wife, saying Blake.
Yeah, well, he said about Lady Deadpool. Nice Pool said that she just had a baby, but she slimmed down really good, very fast, or something.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was.
And he's like, you can't say that. He's like, it's okay. I identify as a feminist. And can we please talk about the dog?
You can talk all you want about this furry, long-tongued.
So I'm pretty sure it's part rat. But so this dog, it's Dogpool or with
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. The quote owner is Nice Pool, who looks like something out of World of Warcraft.
He looked like Shatterstar's. Like he had Shatterstar's haircut.
Yes. That's perfect. Yes. And it was just like he was the most annoying person ever. And then the fact that it was just straight up Ryan Reynolds with long hair, like that was it.
And he doesn't have regenerative powers like every other fucking Deadpool.
Yes. And he's like, I'm gonna get this dog. And he tries so hard, and then finally at the end he's like, I love how Wolverine the whole time he's just like, you're not trying to save it, you're trying to kill him. He goes, he's like, why did we stop moving? While he's getting full of bullets, he's like, oh, I'm tired.
You're heavy. It's like, are you even using those legs?
Well, see, and I was wondering, because they did that massive fight with all the Deadpools, and they're all getting killed and laying there. And I'm just like, are they going to try and play it that he's the only one that can regenerate? And then they all start standing up, and I'm like, that makes more sense. Okay.
I like how he pulls him all the way over, and he's like dead, and he's like, oh, he sacrifices, and Wolverine's like, you fucking murdered him, you asshole. You're a fucking murderer. Wolverine uses so many fuck
Oh my
in this
word.
movie.
I don't know who
He
used
was
more.
so mean.
Go fuck yourself.
Wolverine was so mean. He was like he was supposed to. He was just so mean.
I mean, I know we have no way to know without watching again, but who do you think used more, Ryan Reynolds or Hugh Jackman?
Oh man,
Because, I mean, it
Jackman
was-
used so many.
Like, there were sentences where he dropped 3 and 4 of them in one sentence.
Somebody even said something. He's like, "Can you say this without?"
Oh, that was in the minivan. Yeah, in the
some point
beginning,
somebody mentions-
Deadpool or Wade is in the minivan trying to sell it to these people.
Oh, the wife. Okay, yeah.
And he starts cursing, and the lady's like, "Can you say one sentence without swearing?" And he's like, "Sorry." And he looks at the little kid. He's like, "I haven't been getting much vaginal sex lately." It's like, oh my word. And the whole
Wild.
time I'm thinking, like, 6 seats down is our buddy's 17-year-old kid.
Yep.
And they didn't bring how old is Silas?
14?
14-year-old, because they weren't sure what was in the movie. I don't know if I'm old enough to be watching this movie right now.
Oh, it was right up my alley. I loved it.
Though.
So good. And yes, there was so much comedy, but I feel like there was heart in this one. I feel
Yeah.
from the very first movie, Deadpool talks about his story being a love story. At least that movie was supposed to be. But like his love for Vanessa Cakes is that he calls her in my first Wolverine versus Deadpool deal. He just wants to be a good man for her. And she's like, you need to be a good man for yourself, but you need to stop being selfish. You know? And like all this is because the Avengers turned him down.
Well, and she even says, like, you know, in one of the flashbacks, like, you were turned down one time. It was when Cassandra was in his head.
Yeah.
Like, you were turned down by the Avengers, and you took a knee, and you never got back up. And I was sitting there, I'm thinking, like, I know this isn't supposed to be a deep moment for the audience, but, like, how many of us actually do that? You fail once, and you're just like, oh, it's too risky to try again.
You don't try anything even similar. You
Right.
just go the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, like, great example. How many times have we talked about, like, oh, well, we have one person listening to the podcast, but we keep going because we're doing it for us, not for you.
Yeah, we're the opposite of Deadpool here. This is totally for us.
That's a horrible example.
No, there is a lot of heart in this movie, and it does kind of get buried easily with joke after joke after joke.
But you also got to remember that it's a known fact that Wade Wilson hides a lot of his pain in jokes. Like,
yes.
That is who he is. And I think when you look at it from that perspective, it's, I don't want to say sad.
And that's part of the thing that Wolverine sort of vaguely says to him before he finally snaps on him.
In the minivan.
Yeah, in the minivan is like, you know, you just, it's all you do is fucking talk. Just fucking talk. The mouth. The merc with the mouth.
Speaking of the minivan, how did nobody notice Wolverine was in the back of the minivan the entire drive back into the...
I think they did.
Like,
I think they did.
but you know what I mean? It's just like they all looked at him and smiled when he randomly gets out of the back of the Honda. By the way, Honda had to pay a ton of money for this, or they're really pissed off right now.
Well, they had to get it cleared for sure to use the name consistently.
And we learned in the one commercial before the movie, since they played 2 trailers and 30 minutes of commercials, apparently Ram is a huge sponsor of Twisters.
Well, 5 to 10 minutes before the movie started, there was the Nuvi thing with an N with Maria Menounos, and it was nothing but commercials. There was 2 quiz questions, and it was all commercials.
Yeah.
So then that ends, and then you get like another 7 fucking commercials.
Yep.
And you get 3 movie trailers. It's nothing. It's like just watching the channel. Like, I can't even. I'm just gonna let it go because it just bugs me so much that now I'm paying this much money to see commercials. Now you don't have to fucking pay for Hulu.
You buy your ticket, you go get your popcorn and stuff, you sit down. Oh, the lights just dimmed. We're going to watch 2 or 3 trailers, and then we're going to get into the movie.
It used to be 5 trailers. It used to be a lot of trailers, but now they've taken only 2 of them and done nothing but commercials.
Well, I look like...
Why do I need a Truly commercial when I'm at the fucking movie theater?
No, the commercials or the Nuvi thing started at 10 till 4.
It was 4:25.
I was going to say, the movie didn't start for over a half an hour. We sat through a half hour of commercials and maybe, I'd say conservatively 9 minutes, so 3 minutes apiece of trailers.
I've been a person my entire life since I've started watching movie or had the ability to go movie theaters. I've been notorious for having to get there early because back in the day, it wasn't. It was all trailers. So I was like, dude, we got to get there. I don't want to miss these trailers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you didn't have Reddit and everything else ruining it for you. So if you wanted to see something was coming out, you had to see a trailer. Like you didn't get the same trailer over and over and over on CBS or NBC or something.
You saw movie trailers before a movie or during the Super Bowl.
It was, that was part of the whole thing. So you got excited. So I'm still in that mindset. You know, I'm messaging everybody. I got the tickets. I'm messaging everybody. Hey, we need to get here at this time. I don't want, it's going to be busy. This movie's made $204 million already. And we're on Sunday.
What did you say opening night was?
$48 million on Thursday.
Insane.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up quick. I want to see how much this movie was to make.
Yeah. I'm going to guess $1.85.
Which I did like when they knocked off a certain character. They were like, do you know what he was doing to the budget?
Yeah.
Basically, you're paying a top-end character to be a CGI-heavy character.
Oh, that was Chris Evans.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and poor Johnny Storm's death. The way he dies.
Dude, oh, that was dark.
Cassandra Noah's a fucking beast, man.
Which I will also say, just a tiny little side note, not going to give it away. Stay to the end of the credits. It's not plot relevant, but it's totally worth it.
Yes. He gets a little redemption. I like that Chris Evans had that Brooklyn, New York kind of, fuck that bitch, type of, It wasn't.
Well, it almost felt like a Boston type thing to me. So it says here that it cost $200 million to produce Deadpool and Wolverine. However, between the making of it and the marketing, they had $320 million wrapped up in it.
Well, it already made 200 back.
So we call it $320 million. I see this movie easily getting close to $1 billion by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now, it's not Endgame, but it's the only Marvel movie this year. I don't know anybody who's not looking forward to this movie.
What did I say? 97% of audience on Rotten Tomatoes and like 81 for critics, I think.
Dude, critics don't know what they're doing anymore. I swear.
Well, now a lot of people you and I can get certified in a way somehow. I'm sure there's a process where we could be certified critics, and
we need to do this.
When I growing up, it was Siskel and Ebert. It was the critic column in the newspaper. It wasn't just anybody with a microphone like us two. They could just give their opinion. Yeah, well, no.
We should become critics and just give everything 10s all the time just to mess up the ratings. There's so much to talk about and there's so little time.
Yeah, well, and I don't want to go scene by scene.
No.
We're not doing all that shit.
So I'll go and throw it out there to you now. Do you think this movie is enough to, quote, save the MCU? Because as we know, a lot of people are saying that Endgame was the pinnacle. It started to go downhill. Quantumania, Black Panther 37. I mean, all of them are starting to get rough. Especially, they even said in the movie, the multiverse was screwing things up. Do you think this is enough to maybe bring it back?
To your original question, does it save the MCU? I don't believe it is a savior. I believe it is an injection of energy. I think it's going to get people excited about it. I think the fact that it's Comic-Con and this is pretty much at the same time with Marvel already saying they're scaling things back. So you have Deadpool come out. They throw out the teaser for Fantastic Four. And they have RDJ coming as Dr. Doom. I think it's a perfect storm of things to get people excited to say, forget about Superman and James Gunn. So he put out a new logo today of the DC, whatever they're calling it. Forget about that. Well, no, I think it's DC Studios. DC Studios, I think is what it is. It's not Marvel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think it's Studios.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty much just the same old DC logo with Studios under it, I think. I could be wrong here. But this is a way for them to say, hey, forget about all that. We're still here. We recognize, and we're saying it to you through the fourth wall that we've made mistakes, but don't worry about it. We have a plan. And here is our plan. My only thing with that is a couple years ago when they had the big giant reveal of Eternals and Black Panther 2 and Quantumania and Love and Thunder, everybody was like, their minds were blown. So the hype train has definitely gotten a jolt of energy here. But this movie itself, on screen, a full out finished project for people to see, shows that they can make a good movie. It's not just hype. It's not just talk.
Yeah.
This movie is doing well. Good by audience. Good by money. If they continue to take this type of care in a property, put this much love into it, and say, we got to stop pushing. We need to make money. Let's start actually putting a passion back into the projects again. Yes, this could be a good thump to get them going again. I don't think it's a savior. This isn't like the best comic book movie ever made. I'll say it here.
No.
It's not. It's far from the fucking worst, and it's not even middle of the barrel. It's better than probably the last fucking 5 Marvel movies that come out and a good bit of the DC movies. And did you know that a lot of people, Kevin Feige was saying that some people these days are kind of confused about the difference between Marvel and DC anyway. He said that some people were congratulating him about Blue Beetle.
Oh my.
He said these people didn't even know that wasn't even me. I didn't have anything. Yeah. So.
Well, my wife tried to argue with me. She didn't know.
I think they were talking about superhero fatigue.
My wife thought Spider-Man was DC. So.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Whip her into shape.
And I just looked it up. The new DC logo is the comic book DC logo with the word studios underneath.
Yeah. That's. I'll throw it right back to you. You got to answer. Do you think this is the savior? Do you think this is going to help him out? Like, what do you think this movie is going to do for the MCU moving forward?
I feel that this, not the savior, but I feel this is the first domino. I feel that this falling over is going to start a chain reaction of the studio reevaluating and re-pushing that original fun feeling they had, and not just, oh, we got to tell this story. If that makes sense. Like, the early movies, I felt they focused more on, there's story here, but
they were building to something as well.
Let's have fun with it. Like, let's watch Iron Man try and build a suit and fail multiple times. Like, we had fun with the first Thor, except for the bleached eyebrows. We had fun with the first Iron Man, watching him get thrown into a wall and his AI robot trying to fire extinguish him. Like, Captain America even. I mean, that was a very serious movie, but we had so much fun with it. As the movies went on, it became more about the writers or whoever in the background saying, okay, we need to get over there to this end game.
Right.
And they forgot about focusing on the project at hand. They were more focused on what's coming next than what they were doing right now.
Do you think it helps that the Russo brothers are going to be they're the ones doing Avengers Doom? And
I do. And the big thing with this too, yes, fan service, yes, cameos at the rear, but it also
gets it out of the way.
Well, it also, from a fan point of view, it opens the door to so much again.
Yeah, because you and I are going to talk for the next couple months, next year, going, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They have all this now. It's Blade. Blade.
Turn around and look at the movies we have. They completely saturated us with all of the major names. Hey, let's move on to some unknown B-listers, Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like that. And now we're down to like the E-list with the Eternals and Ms. Marvel, people that nobody really cares that much about.
Well, we can't speak for other people because Ms. Marvel does have a huge comic book following.
Comic book, yes.
Yes.
The show, they did miserable, in my opinion. I don't think they did well.
It was okay.
I think it could have been so much better. I enjoyed it. They tried to make it too teen boppy, in my opinion. And
I thought that was okay. She's a teenage character.
Yes, but I don't know. We have mixed feelings on that, apparently. But now people are going to turn around and say, oh, the X-Men can now come into this. We have our mass A-listers that we all know and love that can come back in.
Well, yeah, you got Fantastic Four and X-Men.
We've connected to the other Spider-Man movies from Sony. There's tons of rumors of those expanding again, but under Marvel, I guess. Well, in affiliation with Marvel.
Well, we saw the trailer again for Venom, and
no, we don't talk about that.
I don't want that stuff. I don't need it.
But I mean, we're going from a point where they were scraping the barrel for people to try and get
Moon Knight is scraping the barrel.
If you look at people who aren't mass comic book fans, yeah, most people don't know who that is. They had no idea. All they knew is Oscar Isaac has been in every franchise for geeks since the beginning of man, apparently.
Yeah, he's been spreading it around.
Yes.
Like his shit's Sharon Stone, and let's face it.
I know this is going to be ridiculous, but I didn't realize it until just the other day that he's Poe Dameron.
How did you, what?
I don't know. I missed it somehow.
You're not a Star Wars guy. I'll give it to you. You're not a Star Wars guy.
True.
And I'll say now, I finished The Acolyte, and I enjoyed the shit out of it.
But yeah, to answer your question, I took the really long path here. I think that this is going to be the first domino in a line of revitalizing the franchise. I really do. And maybe that's optimistic thinking, but...
Well, this one, like you said, this is the only like true Marvel movie this year.
Yeah.
So it's going to have time to breathe.
We're not even getting a TV show, are we?
I don't think so. So this one's going to be able to breathe. It's going to be able to stand on its own, because before you would get like this big movie or a franchise, and then like 3 months later, boom, you get another one. And then boom, you get another one. Like, there's nothing here to... Oh, I mean, Mufasa might take the wind out of its sail in December. I need a prequel movie to a lion from a cartoon movie. Like, why do I need this?
It's like he dies 20 minutes into the cartoon.
Which one's a dumber idea, a Mufasa movie or a Search for Gollum movie?
Don't even get me started on that one.
Like, I don't need either. Like,
did you see they just dropped a new trailer for
Rings of Power
season 2?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh my God.
I like season 1, but I didn't like the insane inaccuracies to the book, like the history and stuff. I can let that go because there's, most people don't even know the history. That being said,
I know what happened.
We don't know what happens.
Mufasa and Gollum are on the Titanic. We know what happens. There's an iceberg and somebody's sinking. But speaking of fantasy stuff, I was at a bookstore yesterday and I picked up for $6 a slightly used paperback. It's still in pretty good shape here, though. The Hunt Begins, Part 1 of The Great Hunt, Book 2 of the Wheel of Time series. Now, I've never actually read the series. I love the TV show. I got enamored with it very quickly. And I ordered it on Amazon for, I think, $8, Book 1. Because I can't read this one until I read Book 1. So I'm going to attempt to read The Wheel of Time.
I've never read it, nor have I watched the show. There's a lot of the books, though, right?
Yeah, I think there's like 9 of them or something.
Wow,
yeah, it's like a whole big series. I think
maybe
if I remember correctly, I think the creator died and then somebody else took over for him to write the last couple. I think that's what I heard.
So is the series wrapped up, or does the book series just kind of end?
No, I think there is. I don't know.
Maybe I'll grab the first one and I'll read it, and then we can do an episode on our thoughts on that. And I'll watch the show.
Well, I'd watched the show season 1 and then I watched season 2, but I wanted to know more about the book series. So I found a podcast about these two guys. One read the books and one never did, but they both watched the show. And the one guy had so many facts about the books. I was like, oh shit, maybe I should actually read. He made it seem like maybe I should read these damn books.
Okay.
So.
Kind of like I was talking about with Dark Matter. That book is fantastic. I loved it. And I was reading that they didn't cancel it. It was designed as a mini-series. I guess the one season that's out follows the book like insanely well. And the author of the book had a huge hand in the series, and that's probably why. And that they're still discussing a season 2.
There's 2 seasons.
No, there's only one. Sci-fi. No, this is Apple TV. There was also a show.
I watched them on Sci-Fi.
There was a show on Sci-Fi called Dark Matter that was like space and stuff like that.
Yeah, they woke up on a ship. Is that not what we're talking about?
No.
It was like...
I realized that after we were talking about that I don't think that we're on the same page.
Because I was like, there's 2 seasons of that show because I watched them.
This is, without giving anything away, because you might actually like the show. The guy is essentially, he goes out to a bar, has a drink with a buddy. On his walk home, he gets abducted, drugged, and then he wakes up in this weird lab, but his life is gone. Okay.
Well, no more past that because I don't want any more. But no, that's completely different. We were definitely talking about 2 different fucking things.
Well, so I was talking to a guy at work about it, and
you're saying, there was a book. I was like, yeah, it was a comic book.
See, the guy at work said the same thing. He's like, it got canceled after a few seasons. I'm like, no, like season 1, it just ended in June. He's like, no. I'm like, yes. So I pulled it up and I was showing him. He's like, yeah, that's not it.
Yeah, definitely not. No.
So yeah, it's a book by, I can't remember the guy's name now. I got through it in like, I think 2 or 3 days. And my buddy who drove, he was in North Dakota. He drove in, picked up his stepdaughter and drove home. He said it's like a 27-hour drive. He grabbed the audiobook. He said it was 10 hours, knocked it out in one go, sat straight through it because he's driving 27 hours. Yeah. He said it is one of the best works of fiction that he's heard in a long time.
Well, I'll put it on my list of maybes.
He listens to books and watches a ton of movies. Well, he used to, not as much anymore. But he said for him to say it's one of the best is actually, it's a pretty big achievement.
Well, now we know we're talking about 2 different things.
Yes.
And listen, I'm on we finished 3 episodes of Severance. We're doing 1 episode at a time.
And you're drunk every time?
We're not binging it. No, not drunk every time. But there's some dense and
dude. So
we can't handle 2 of those in a row.
That show starts. Severance is a very
it's a cerebral show.
Well,
very cerebral. You gotta pay attention.
So is Dark Matter. So I'll put that out there right now for you. Yeah, Severance. It starts out very dry and it's designed to be plain. Not much to look at when you're watching it. But the budget's massive. Well, see, that's the thing. If you're looking, you see so much in the background that on like a second watch through, you realize other things.
I don't know if I could give it a second watch through. I don't know.
Wait till you get to the end and then make your decision.
Would you give...
I was just go there.
All right. Does Deadpool and Wolverine have replay value?
Absolutely. I thought it was one of the most fun movies I've seen this year. It was like I could easily sit down and watch it again tonight.
I think I'd have to watch it. I'll probably get like a shitty copy just so I can watch it again because I feel like there's stuff I've missed. And I need to know, is that Kelly Hu? Because that did not look like her as Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to know.
And you said too, you saw one thing that said that Psylocke was in it, and I didn't see her anywhere.
Well, Rob McElhenney from Sunny in Philadelphia was supposedly in this, but his role was cut as a TVA agent.
Oh, see, I thought he just had a helmet on.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I thought it was one of those Star Wars deals where the guy's a stormtrooper. James Bond plays a stormtrooper.
Yeah,
it's just his voice. That's what I figured. You know,
so it actually got cut out.
That's what Wikipedia said.
Interesting.
And they're never wrong.
And you would think, if Psylocke was in it, you can guarantee it's going to be Olivia Munn, right?
Yeah, where was she at?
You would think she would have at least a second of screen time. I didn't see her once. So I have no idea.
I don't know.
But, I mean, then again, Matthew McConaughey was, at least his voice was in it, so...
Right, and Nathan Fillion. Who's in a lot of things now.
He is.
He's in Marvel and DC, so...
He is. Well, he was already in Marvel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, now he's in DC.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that they're going back and forth, so... Well, I guess somebody asked Kevin Feige the other day about a Marvel versus DC or a collab, and he said, I can't tell the future or whatever, but maybe, he's like, he's not, it's not off the table.
I mean, him and James Gunn have
open to
be friends, at least. I mean, I know there's some bad blood here and there. I don't know if it's between them or not, but he wrote how many of the movies, or directed them at least. I mean, there's connections there.
James Gunn was part of more than Guardians of the Galaxy. He was definitely.
And if all else fails, Sean Gunn is friends with everybody. So
yes. Yeah, he's a good actor. Let's wrap this up. I think we've talked enough, spoiled enough about Deadpool and Wolverine. Personally, I recommend this movie to casual goers, people that don't really know about it. They can still laugh at some jokes. I don't recommend this to grandmas or to small children. But if you like comedy, you like action, you like comic books, you're a geek at heart.
Or if you want to build a snowman.
If you want to build a snowman, or if you like to partake in the devil's dandruff. Good old booger sugar. I recommend this movie. Like I said, an 8 out of 10. I'd like us to maybe in a year, after we've seen this a time or two, because I'm sure once I have the opportunity, I'm going to rewatch this again to see if it does have if it still has that stature, because it's fresh. It's less than 24 hours. But go see this. And thanks for sitting here and listening to us ramble on about it.
Maybe we'll do like a full rundown of Deadpool 1, 2, and 3, kind of like we've been doing with other series. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll do a comic book year for comic book movies or something. We're on the sci-fi this year, but
yeah, that'd be fun.
This is kind of sci-fi. I mean, you got
we'll
like time travel and shit.
We'll grab comic book movies that most people haven't really seen.
We'll do some shitty ones.
Watchmen. Actually, that was good. Yeah. I did like that one.
I enjoy that movie.
Yeah. I got nothing more to add here. Go see the movie if you haven't already. And if you haven't, why are you listening to us right now? Go see the movie.
I have a friend, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to spoil it for you. And he's like, no, go ahead. I love spoilers. I'm like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. Yep. Hit us up. We're on Instagram, Facebook, X, Patreon. Just search Tree of Geek. You're going to find us. We'd love to hear your input on the movie.
I will say just real quick, designer, to you, I'm not sure how long we're going to have X. And only because the only interaction we've been getting is fake women following our account. So
that happens. Yeah.
If you are an X follower and you don't want it to go away, let us know. But X might disappear from our
Well, then if we're giving out bad news, there is a chance that we will be limiting our podcast availability on Spotify and stuff like that. Right now,
we're looking into some avenues of some.
Right now you can go back and listen to stuff from the very beginning. We might be cutting our plan down because as of right now, our last episode 2 weeks ago has 4 views or 4 listens on all streaming platforms as far as like audio.
Yeah, YouTube's doing okay, but everything else
great.
is
Spotify, iTunes, all of that is struggling. So we're looking at where we can. I don't want to say cut costs.
We're trying to figure things out, but
we're trying to figure out what's working, what's not. So bear with us. If you're one of those people that listen on one of those platforms,
let us know.
Yeah, let us know that it's worth keeping around, please. We're trying to weigh out. Do we have regular listeners on those platforms, or are those 4 listeners one-offs that'll never come back?
Let us know. Tell us where you interact. Tell us where you listen to.
Definitely.
And we don't want to alienate anybody. We want you and your friends and family to listen to us.
So reach out, talk to us, Instagram is probably your best bet, but you know what?
Yes, Instagram is the best bet.
Sorry.
If you want some interaction.
Instagram is definitely the best bet.
Yes, that is where I'm the one that does most of the posts, and that's where I will see you. We don't do a lot of Facebook. I do copy and paste everything to X. It's the same, but
If you like what you hear, jump on Patreon, $5 a month. You can support us. You can help us keep doing what we're doing. I'm not going to drive that dead horse home. If you know, you know. And regardless, we appreciate everybody who's out there listening.
absolutely.
We love doing this, and we love knowing that people out there enjoy it. So that's what matters to us right now.
Hopefully we brightened your day or night or afternoon.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just knowing that you guys are out there brightens my day, my night, my afternoon. I appreciate you.
I like it. All right, well, from the Tree of Geek, this is Josh saying go watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
And this is Michael saying, a jug.
No, you can't do that. Pole and pole. What is the... They sound the same to me.
Pole is something you throw. Pool is something you jump into. And pull, you're bringing it to me.
They all sound the same to me.
Okay.